Because I'm in an incredibly dark and low mood, I figured what better time to record a video of my favorite funny books. I can't imagine anything more subjective than humor. I mean, I have close friends that binge watch old episodes of Friends and think it's funny. So, I mean, humor is subjective. LOL, LMFAO books. These are books that actually made me laugh out loud. These are the funniest books I've ever read out of the 1 million books that I've read. First up, we have The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I'm just kidding. It is kind of funny. In a weird way, it is kind of funny. Check out this first edition, too. Isn't this nice? I think I bought this at the Anarchist bookstore used for like $1. First up, we have a controversial pick. Maybe these are all controversial picks. I thought this book was hilarious, and other people will think it's the dark memoir of a monster. But first up, we have Céline, Journey to the End of Night. I hate this cover. I have multiple copies of this around the apartment. This was just the first one I found. I have a bad habit of buying books over and over again if I really like them. And you see it used around a lot. He's like a grouchy French guy that is just kind of like finds humanity repulsive. He's a doctor. He's a poor doctor, though, in a slum in France, somewhere, maybe Paris. Imagine a French Charles Bukowski around the First World War. He's just this really sarcastic, grouchy French guy. He was like the first guy to get canceled. He's definitely racist, definitely hates Jews. You have to keep in mind that this was like written in like the 20s. So it's a very different time, but it's just so raw and ridiculous and funny and gross. I mean, I guess that says something about my sense of humor, that I like how raunchy and gross this book is. I guess you could call it a guilty pleasure if you're a really repressed person and can't handle reading things like this. Really funny, really sarcastic, really controversial to some degree. I mean, people used to read him a lot. He was a big influence on a lot of people because this was a very early kind of street language, tell it like it is, man on the street, grouchy guy. But it's incredibly funny. It's also incredibly dark. It's like, imagine a Hieronymus Bosch painting of France around the First World War, except Charles Bukowski's there commenting on all of it. It's kind of like, that's kind of the vibe of it. If you like this novel, he's got like 5 more and they're all exactly like this. I don't think I mentioned it's a thinly veiled autobiography, as far as I can tell from what I've read. And in that vein, and keeping it real, keeping it funny, keeping it real funny. And I'm going to sound like a bro with this pick. I haven't read his stuff in a really long time, and I'm going to sound like the most annoying lit bro, but there's almost not a funnier American author than Charles Bukowski, the American Céline. I just picked Factotum. Any of his books, poetry, anything's fine. It's all kind of the same shtick. A poor, lower class, grouchy guy sarcastically observing his world and being misogynistic, really misogynistic, but it's really funny. What's more funny than a misanthropic, grouchy, flawed person? Next up, we have Candide by Voltaire. I have like 20 copies of this, and let me get my prized copy of Candide. Look at this copy. Comes in this nice, woo-wee, whoo. Kind of smells mildewy, but comes in this nice slip case, and it really smells like a dank basement, this book. But look how nice this is. Look at the little illustrations. It's every page has these little like beautiful illustrations. But Candide, it was written in 1759 by a French philosopher named Voltaire. It's about this very sheltered baby man who gets in misadventures and slowly grows disillusioned with the world. And for a book written in 1759, it is still so funny. Like, I laughed throughout the entire thing. It pokes fun at religion, government, everything. It's also very short. Don't let my giant fancy version fool you. It's a very short book. You can finish it in a day. I was shocked at how much I laughed reading it. So you should just pick it up. You'll see, you can find copies of it everywhere, and you'll sound cool saying that you're reading Voltaire. Next up, we have 101 Hamburger Jokes. Next up, we have Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut. This is a really shitty copy of it. I feel like I've got a better copy of this somewhere. This book is so funny that I own the t-shirt. I have a t-shirt with the original cover slipcase. It's got all these funny little cartoons in it that he drew. The book is basically about a guy losing his mind, and it's very, very funny. Mental illness is not a joke, except for in Breakfast of Champions. It came out in 1973. It's really meta, postmodern, mind-bending, almost sci-fi adjacent, like so much of Kurt Vonnegut's stuff. But it is so funny. I would also recommend, if you do audiobooks, there's an audiobook version of the book read by John Malkovich. Unbelievable. Like one of the best audiobooks I've ever read. I guarantee it'll make you laugh. I rate it 5 chuckles. Next up, we have a new book, shockingly, because when do I ever like a new book? But I can't find it anywhere here in the apartment. I don't know what happened to it. I feel like maybe I even lost it. I don't even know what happened to it. But here's a picture. The book is You, Me, and Ulysses S. Grant by Brad Neely. Excuse my very dirty laptop screen. And it's a farcical biography of Ulysses S. Grant, told by a grouchy old crank Civil War historian. Brad Neely's a comedian. I'm sure you've seen his stuff on early YouTube. Little short cartoon about JFK that was really funny. The Professor Brothers, Baby Cakes, China, Illinois. This book, I have to say, Ulysses S. Grant, it's a masterpiece. It's so stupid and funny, and just like, I'm not sure if there's a book I've ever laughed at so consistently, like out loud the entire time. And again, let me say, with this book, there is an audiobook version that Brad Neely reads himself that is so almost avant-garde in its intensity to listen to this guy speaking in this like grizzled old man voice for like 10 hours. It's like performance art. It's so funny. I'm saying that with every book. I'm like, it's so funny. But Brad Neely, You, Me, and Ulysses S. Grant, sounds very bro. It sounds very boy, but it pokes fun at that too. You obviously don't have to give a shit about Ulysses S. Grant to read this book and think it's funny. Seriously, when I first read it, I was obsessed with it and badgered everybody around me to read it. And I got a few friends of mine to read it, and they thought it was funny. But it's really, really good. It's really funny. But check out the audiobook version to get an idea. I feel like a lot of people slept on it, and it's a comedy masterpiece. Next up, one of my favorite books of all time, and also one of the funniest books I've ever read. Probably the first really, really funny book I ever read that I didn't realize books could be this consistently funny. And that is Sabbath Theater by Philip Roth. I have a few more copies of it around. I keep a lot of copies with the intention of giving them away to friends and stuff, but I almost never do because nobody wants my musty old books. Sabbath Theater is about this 64-year-old reprobate, disgusting puppeteer. The main character, Mickey Sabbath, he's the most unlikable, perverted, ridiculous character of any book. And it just follows his disgusting, freaky misadventures of being this like washed up, avant-garde performance artist puppeteer guy. It won the National Book Award. It came out in 1994. I feel like a book like this wouldn't come out today, or if it would, no one would be brave enough to say that they like it. But that's the thing with funny books. The character is supposed to be a horrible person. That's what makes it funny. You're not really being asked to like sympathize with the character. Or maybe even you are sometimes, but that makes it funnier. And Philip Roth is so good at writing kind of pervy asshole characters, maybe because he was a pervy asshole character in real life. So as you can see from these books that I picked, my choices of the funniest books, it's really a window into my own psyche. These are all comedies of despair to deal with a horrible, meaningless world. I'm not saying the world's horrible and meaningless, but I probably have those tendencies within me to see the world, to be a little pessimistic about things. And it's kind of that you have to laugh to keep from crying type of mentality, which I learned growing up in poverty, blah, blah, blah. My mom, when I was a kid, was like that. We made a joke of everything in our house. What would be a tragedy in a well-adjusted, wealthy family's home was the height of comedy in my generationally poor home. So it's laughing in the face of darkness and existential despair, basically. And that's why these books are good medicine for existential despair. All the books feature kind of an anti-hero as a truth teller. Not that, like, necessarily, they're telling their truth. They're all kind of a comedy of disintegration, laughing as the world comes apart at the seams through a clear-eyed approach, seeing the world for what it really is, stripped of all artifice, and then laughing at the grotesque reality that you're faced with. There's also a lot of gross body humor in these books, and a lot of sex, especially Sabbath Theater. It's just like so much pervy, weird sex stuff that you can't believe someone wrote these words on the page. All of the books have kind of a shared disgust with power, which, you know, of course, who doesn't like that? And they all in some way or another argue that any view of life that can't also encompass the obscene and grotesque, absurd realities of this world is a lie, and you're being told a lie. And it's funny when someone's lying to your face and you know that they're lying to your face. And they know that you know that they're lying to your face. So yeah, a bunch of dark anti-heroes being pervs. Pervs on the page. I don't know, it's funny to me. You gotta laugh to keep from crying.